You ever wonder what really separates the good performers from the truly great ones? It's not just about putting in thousands of hours of physical practice. The real secret, the thing that's absolutely essential for success in any skill, whether it's sports, music, or even public speaking, is mastering your attention. So let's dive in and see how that works. Just look at tennis superstar Iga Swiatek. When she won the French Open back in 2020, she was ranked 54th in the world, and a huge piece of her success was her mental game. I mean, her ability to just concentrate and stay completely unfazed by distractions like a bad call from the ump. It's a perfect example of how controlling your attention is the absolute key to performing when the pressure's on. All right, so let's get right into it. What is the secret to performance? We've all been there, right? You have those incredible moments where everything just clicks. You're not even thinking, you're just doing. Athletes call it being in the zone. And then, of course, there's the flip side. The times where we overthink everything, we get clumsy, and we just choke. So what's the real difference between those two states? Well, the answer, in two words, is attentional focus. It's all about your ability to concentrate your mental energy on the task right in front of you. And the best part is, it's not some kind of magic. It's a cognitive skill. And just like any other skill, you can understand it, you can train it, and you can master it. Okay, so what is attentional focus, really? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Psychologists like to break attention down into three main parts. First up is concentration. That's you making a conscious choice to put in the mental effort, like really listening to a coach's instructions. Then you've got selective attention. Think of this as your brain's filter, letting you zoom in on the ball and tune out a screaming crowd. And finally, there's divided attention. That's your brain juggling, coordinating a couple of actions at the same time, kind of like a point guard dribbling while looking for an open teammate. But here's where it gets really interesting. To actually use our attention well, we have to think about it having two key dimensions. Its width, is it broad or is it narrow? And its direction, is it pointed outward at the world or inward at our own thoughts? So these two dimensions mix and match to create four different types of focus. For example, picture a hockey player using a broad external focus, taking in the whole defensive line in one glance. At the same time, their coach might be using a broad internal focus, analyzing that same setup and planning the next big play. A table tennis player, on the other hand, needs a super narrow external focus, locked right onto that little ball. And a gymnast uses a narrow internal focus to run through the entire routine in their head. The absolute best performers can just snap between these four modes without even thinking about it. So if focus is so important, why is it so hard to hold on to? Let's take a look at the usual suspects. These enemies of focus really come in two main flavors. You've got your internal distractors, all that stuff happening inside your own head, like worrying about past mistakes, daydreaming about vacation, or feeling tired. And then you've got the external ones, the flash of a camera, the roar of the crowd, a terrible call from the rough. Either one can completely pull you out of the zone. Now, when we're under a lot of pressure, our brain does this thing called attentional narrowing. It's like our focus puts on blinders, tightening up on just a couple of things. Sometimes this is amazing, like a basketball player seeing nothing but the rim on a game-winning free throw. But it can also be a real problem if it makes you miss other important cues, like an open player down the court. It's a total double-edged sword. And this just goes to show you that the perfect level of arousal and the right kind of focus is totally different for every activity. An archer needs to be calm with low arousal for that steady, precise control. But a hurdler, they need super high arousal for that explosive power off the blocks. It's all about matching your mental state to the task at hand. Okay, so we've seen the problem. Now let's talk about solutions. What are some real, proven techniques for taking control of our focus? Well, the late Professor Aiton Morin laid out these 5 brilliant building blocks. First, you have to actually decide to concentrate. It's a choice. It doesn't just happen. 2, just one thought at a time. 3, you know you're truly focused when what you're doing and what you're thinking are the exact same thing. 4, we lose focus the second we start worrying about stuff we can't control, like the weather. And number 5 is a big one. When you feel nervous, push your focus outwards onto the action, not inwards on your feelings of doubt. On top of those principles, you can add some other really practical tools to your mental toolkit. Routines are amazing for shutting down that overthinking part of your brain. Simple trigger words, like a golfer thinking target or balance right before a swing, can be a powerful anchor. And setting performance goals, which are things you can actually control, keeps your mind on the process, not just the final score.
But out of all these techniques, this is probably the most important choice you can make. The research is crystal clear on this. An external focus works way better than an internal one. So instead of thinking about the part of your foot that's kicking the ball, think about the spot on the ball you want your foot to hit. When you focus on the effect of your movement, you let your body's training just take over and do its thing automatically.
And here's the real payoff. Adopting that external focus doesn't just help you perform better in the moment, it actually helps you learn new skills way faster. And hey, this isn't just a nice idea. As the source material says right here, there is solid scientific evidence to back this up. An external focus has been proven to improve accuracy, efficiency, and even how well you resist choking under pressure. Let's look at a really cool, concrete example. In one study, a group of researchers got some experienced kayakers together and had them sprint 100 meters, but with different instructions about where to focus their attention. And the results are just fascinating. The control group, who got no instructions, finished in about 31.8 seconds. When they were told to use a proximal focus, that means focusing on something nearby, like their paddle, they were actually a little slower. But when they used a distal focus, focusing on something far away, like the finish line, they were way faster, finishing in just over 30 seconds. That's a huge difference. So the big takeaway here is this. Pointing your attention outwards, focusing on the result you want to create is one of the most powerful things you can do. It just frees up your body to be more effective, more efficient, and it makes you way more mentally tough when it counts. This is such a powerful idea, and it goes way beyond sports. It applies to pretty much anything you want to get better at. So the real question I want to leave you with is, what will you achieve with better focus?